Okay, here we've got another session of Copilot Snacks. Today we're going to be talking about Copilot for Payers again. In this particular use case, we're talking about how our Copilot for Service can be used for member service use cases or customer service use cases. And I'm joined today by my peer, Justin McNally, who is the guy who knows things about Copilot for Service. So, Justin, I wanted to go ahead and tee up this conversation just quickly to help people could get acquainted for what this is and how it can get used before we show them some of those live capabilities.
That's fantastic, Jeremy. And thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to talk about Copilot for Service and what this really can offer for our service members that are sitting within a third-party CRM system that's not Dynamics 365, that's not a Microsoft tool. So what we're seeing here on the screen on this slide is really the concept of our line of business Copilots, Copilot for Service specifically, building on top of that framework that we have for Copilot for M365. So you can think about Copilot for M365 as having access to information that may be stored within Outlook or Teams or across the Office 365 ecosystem. And what Copilot for Service is offering is the capability then to reach into other service systems, other knowledge repositories that may sit outside of that ecosystem, and tools like Salesforce or ServiceNow to really be able to sit a bot, a generative AI capability on top of those knowledge-based repositories to have a conversation back and forth from the member perspective. And what this gives that agent is quicker time to value, because we can provision these capabilities very, very quickly. And then also being able to resolve member issues much more quickly because we can have this conversation with the bot directly in the tools that our agents are using on a day-to-day basis. The final thing that I want to note here is that on top of that, on top of this slide, you can see Copilot Studio. And this gives us a further capability to extend Copilot for Service. So as we have a need, maybe to reach in additional systems, maybe for claim statuses that may sit outside of ServiceNow or Salesforce, Copilot Studio would be providing us that capability as well. So we have an extensibility option along with this line of business Copilot. So with that, I think what we'll do is I will share my screen. I will put on the hat of a customer service rep or a member service rep, and I'm going to access the tool that I leverage on a day-to-day basis as part of my role, and that's Salesforce in this instance. Now, Microsoft has realized that, again, not everybody's going to use Microsoft tools all the time, and that's certainly okay. But we want to enable these agents and these member service agents to be able to do their jobs as efficiently as possible, no matter where they're spending their time. And so here, what I see in front of me is that I have a claim dispute. So a member has come in, maybe they don't agree with a decision that we've made for a claim. They picked up the phone, they've called into our service hotline, and now I can see I have this claim dispute. So I've come here into my case, which in this instance is about reviewing a claim decision. A member has an issue with that claim, and so now I'm going to leverage Copilot for Service to help me resolve this particular issue. Now, what's great about this for me as the agent is that Copilot for Service understands the context of the case that I'm within. So very easily, I could say, help me resolve this case. Now, what's happening behind the scenes with Copilot for Service is that we're connected to a multitude of different knowledge-based repositories to pull back this information for the agent. Before Copilot for Service, I may have to search knowledge articles within Salesforce. I may have to search SharePoint documentations, PDFs, maybe even documents on my own hard drive on my desktop. But what's great about this Copilot for Service capability is that we can point to disparate sets of knowledge, Salesforce and ServiceNow. We can also point to SharePoint files, offline files, things like that. And this really gives me a singular pane of glass where I can find the information that I need to go ahead and resolve this particular issue. And so this speeds up my time to resolution for a member.
The response was so fast, too.
It is. And what's great about this is that it's not only quick, but I can have an ongoing conversation with this bot now. So grounded in the context of that knowledge article that was found to go ahead and resolve this case about, our claim decision process and maybe appealing that process, I can continue the conversation with the bot to drill into additional details that I may need. And so in this instance, I'm just going to say, maybe because I'm lazy, which might be true of, my real life persona, is okay, well, just tell me, what are the things that I need to know, right? And so now the bot, again, grounded in that context of that knowledge article that it found, it's going to tell me all the things that I need to know, like what's the number that that member, could call into to go ahead and appeal this claim. It's telling me about a two-step process. So again, this is giving me a clear indication about what's going on and how to resolve this issue, grounded in the context of that case. Now, the other thing that I want to point out here is that, maybe if I wanted to review the status of this claim and that information does not sit, let's say, within Salesforce. Before, I would have to navigate to a different system. I'd have to open up a new window. I'd have to lose the context of the conversation I'm in with the member. But I can continue this conversation with the bot, and utilizing that extension capability with Copilot Studio, I can reach out into other systems. I can find statuses maybe of claims that may sit outside of Salesforce to really get the holistic picture about what's going on with this particular member.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of times the knowledge is in multiple places, right? So
Exactly right.
SharePoint is something that's really out of the box, right? M365 Copilot knows all about SharePoint and what you can see in SharePoint. So this is built on top of that Copilot experience. That's a natural one. You said Salesforce is in there and ServiceNow.
And ServiceNow, yes, absolutely. So if you have kind of a cross-pollination between, maybe ServiceNow knowledge base, Salesforce, and you need to have access to both instead of switching back and forth between, multiple applications for the service agent, we apply Copilot for Service on top, and now we can have this conversation. You can also have custom sources. So beyond just Salesforce or ServiceNow, obviously there's going to be a number of other repositories that our customers are leveraging. And you can certainly enable that through Copilot for Service to go ahead and search those repositories as well.
Awesome. And so one other question I have is that this is great, right? Because this helps elevate the agent experience. It helps that member get the answers that they need, helps them potentially get their issue resolved. But self-service is also a huge deal in
Yes.
customer service just as a whole. So how can we turn this into a self-service scenario?
It's a great question. And so there's a couple different ways that you could do that, but specifically that same extension capability that we talked at the beginning, and we talked about, using that extension capability to maybe reach into other systems, Copilot Studio. That would be one way that we can expose these bots that are layered on top of knowledge to our members. So as they access, let's say, our website, right? Exposing this information out and exposing our knowledge base and utilizing generative AI on top of that. That's something that we can do with Copilot Studios to interface with those members back and forth so that they're not picking up the phone and calling these service agents. So it's certainly a capability that we can do, and that would be done through Copilot Studio.
Awesome. Yeah. And so we've got member services agent experience. We've got capabilities to do self-service. If we've got a ServiceNow connection, we can do ITSM, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So this same exact capability that we're seeing where we're embedding Copilot for Service in Salesforce, we can have that same experience within ServiceNow as well. So from an internal perspective, from an ITSM perspective, enabling that knowledge, enabling that generative AI on top of that knowledge, we can absolutely do within ServiceNow, and we have plenty of examples of that.
Awesome. Well, that's great. One last thing. So writing an email, say we need to respond to this patient or this member. I see that right on the screen there. So can we help write those communications?
Hey, great question, Jeremy. Thank you for asking that. Yes, absolutely. And the point that I want to make here is that this can happen from two different facets, right? Obviously, certain agents are going to want to live within Salesforce, and they're going to want to respond to emails within Salesforce, and Copilot for Service certainly enables that. So what we're seeing now is I've navigated over into more of an email interface. Copilot for Service recognizes that context, and now it's lighting up this capability to go ahead and write an email. And what you'll notice now from an agent perspective is that I have a number of different prompts that I can use to have generative AI help me write the email, right? I'm not great at composing emails. This is true to my real life persona too. And what's great about this is that it'll not only facilitate kind of crafting that email, but it's also going to leverage the knowledge that's sitting within either Salesforce or ServiceNow or SharePoint to respond to the question, to respond to that query, to really help resolve this member's issue. And so you can see that's part of some of these prompts. Hey, go ahead and resolve the customer's problem or provide specific product or service details. And we're pulling back that knowledge that's sitting within Salesforce to give in context content that's directly related to this email in hand. So in my case, maybe this member is really upset and I just want to go ahead and empathize with this individual. And so what we're going to see very quickly, Copilot for Service is generating this content for me that I can now copy, or I can adjust it. I can adjust the tone, and I can take this and then send this off to my member and get their issue resolved very, very quickly, saving me a ton of time and heartache.
Wow. Again, I can't believe how blazing fast that capability is.
Super
too. Quick. I mean, wow, that is so fast for generative anything. Certainly way faster than anybody trying to type all of that too.
Yes, much quicker than me and with a lot less spelling errors. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, my typos.
It's pretty bad. The other thing that I want to mention here is that it's not just available from an internal Salesforce perspective in writing those emails. I could be sitting within Outlook, within my inbox, and have that same capability with Copilot for Service sitting alongside me, sitting alongside my inbox, helping me craft these emails directly within Outlook. And I can also have visibility into the cases that I'm working on with that Copilot for Service plugin.
Nice. Well, I know this is just scratching the surface of what is possible. So we might have to do a follow-up session as well. I would love to. But this is a great 101 of what we can do to help, health insurance companies, payers, member service organizations in the U.S. and heck, anywhere. To do more with less with these Copilot capabilities. So thank you so much, Justin, for your time. And hopefully we get to talk again about this very soon.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Jeremy. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.